Hello, my name is Russell, you're watching for Chits and Giggles, and this is the Chit list. Instead of doing top 5, top 10, top 100 lists, having to sort of shoehorn in a certain number of games and sit there ranking everything and like burning my brain in the process, instead what I thought I would do is just come up with lists of any number of games, just fitting within certain interesting categories, and hopefully let you know about some really cool games in the process. In today's episode, I will be looking at games that come with useless or superficial gaming components. Now, of course, this will not be a definitive list, so if you think I've missed anything, please drop a comment below and I'll see if I can make it into a future episode. So let's get stuck in with 9 games with useless or superficial gaming components. Number 1, Cosmic Encounter. Cosmic Encounter is a fantastic space-based game about the breaking of rules in a good fun kind of way, so it does seem fitting that the game comes with something that is potentially broken. It's not really, and that would be the warp gate. Yes, technically you can use it to point at the planet you're trying to take over and place the ships you're going to use, but you could just as easily use the table, which seems a bit pointless. Now, it is possible that there is utilization of this component in an expansion, of which there are many and I haven't played them all, but still it does ultimately seem quite superficial, which is why it's on this list. Number 2, Colt Express. Colt Express is a fun and family-friendly title about train robbery, and actually is a great introduction to the programming mechanism in which you plan out all of your turns in advance and then see them play out at once. But the game does include a lot of tiny cardboard pieces which form only a superficial utility that is decorating the table. Yes, it looks cute and it is a good enough reason to include them in the game for that reason alone, but they are small and fiddly and easily lost. However, I cannot hate the game for including them, but they are still unfortunately useless in terms of the game, so that is why they are included on this list. Number 3, Cottage Garden. Cottage Garden is a game with the most relaxing theme. You're planting flower beds and, well, that's pretty much it. Now, filling these up with the polyomino tiles, this is definitely one of the designer Yuri Rosenberg's less complex titles, and Edition Spielweis did a good job with the English countryside theme. However, they did add one too many components by adding the wheelbarrow. This is a 3D component that you have to build yourself, and its whole job is just to tell you where the end of a line is. Now, unless you're easily confused, it is very hard to argue that this was an essential piece in this game, especially because it could be replaced with anything else, literally a cardboard token, which is why it's on the list. Number 4, Cluedo. Cluedo is a game that so many of us know in this hobby, but just in case you're brand new to this, I will explain that this is a murder mystery game where you're using logic and deduction to figure out who done it, where they did it, and with what they did it with. Now, if you think about the game a little bit, you use the suspects because you play as them, and you need the rooms because you need to make it into the rooms to make accusations, but if you think about it, the weapons are actually useless. Yes, you could argue that maybe they're there to remind you of what weapons there are, but you have a kind of sheet of paper that kind of lists everything you need to know anyway, so yeah, functionally absolutely useless, even if they are a bit cool to play around with during the game. Number 5, 504. 504 is not an error code. In fact, it's an ambitious game title by designer Friedman Fries, in which he took 9 different gaming mechanisms and allowed you to take any 3 of them, combine them, and create a unique game using those 3. It was actually a very clever idea, but unfortunately not that well received, and kind of fell out of the board gaming consciousness pretty soon afterwards. Given the abundance of components needed to utilize these 9 mechanisms, and only ever using 3 of them at once, it doesn't surprise you probably to learn that there are some components that are less used than others. But bizarrely, the game included a boat token, which even the rulebook states has no purpose whatsoever in the game. So why'd they even include it? Only Friedman knows. Number 6, Forbidden Desert. Forbidden Desert is a classic cooperative title in which up to 4 players will scour the sandstorm-filled desert looking for 4 missing parts of their ship in order to escape before it becomes impossible. Now, there are 4 different pieces representing the different parts of the ship that are missing, but once you've got them all and you've made it to the escape tile, the game gives you kind of the ship to attach them to as well. But by that point, you've already won the game, so you actually don't need the ship at all. I do understand that it offers a sense of fun and completion to the game, and you can, add the ship parts as you play the game, but ultimately, it's still a futile exercise. Now, this is not the only game in the series to feature an unnecessarily extravagant ending, as the sequel Forbidden Sky has a spaceship, and when you complete the game and link all the metal components together, actually the ship lights up and makes a noise. But while that is cool and fun, it's still completely futile from a gameplay point of view. Number 7, Codenames. Codenames is the top-rated party game of all time on Board Game Geek at the moment, and involves you using single word clues to link up several other single words using word association. It's a great game, and thinking of clues as the spy master is a particularly tricky task. But the game includes a timer whose only purpose is to hurry up a player when they're taking too long. There's nothing like a bit of pressure to hurry you up, is there? Technically, in the rulebook it does say that you can use the timer, but even the rulebook says that they rarely use it, and it does seem odd to me to use this timer when it can be targeted at a single player unfairly. Even if timing is an issue, the publisher released an official timing app which gives both teams the same amount of time, so it does seem weird to include an unreliable sand timer in a game which can be used unfairly, hence why it makes this list. Number 8, Everdell. Everdell is a beautiful looking game involving worker placement and tableau building, and involving these cute anthropomorphic critters in the forest, and yes, the game does stand out. But part of what makes the game stand out is this huge 3D tree that you have to build, whose sole purpose is to hold some cards and some meeples. There's nothing that a good old table can't do instead. That's not the only unnecessary extravagance in the game, as it also includes a card, a victory card, with which you pose for a selfie when you win the game. Now, that does seem like it was probably included to get a bit of free marketing on social media, but to me it still feels a bit silly, though maybe that's just because I'm old and cranky. Number 9, Endeavour Age of Sail. Now, I know I said this list wasn't ranked, but I had to save the most useless gaming piece until last. Endeavour Age of Sail is a game where players sail and trade around the Mediterranean. Now, if you're British like me, you might be slightly irked by the spelling of endeavour in the game, because we know that it includes an extra U. Well, luckily for us, the publishers have not forgotten, because they've helpfully included a U piece whose sole purpose is to Britishize this spelling for us British people. And that's it. So that's the end of the Chit List episode 1. If you think I've forgotten anything, please drop a comment below with any pieces that are also useless or superficial, and I can include them potentially in a future episode. I truly hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I will be creating more episodes of the Chit List for you to check out, so please subscribe using the button below this video so you can be alerted when that goes live. That's it from me today. My name has been Russell, hope you've enjoyed watching, and until next time, remember, there's always time for chits and giggles.